Hi.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Soaps and Sass. I'm Mama Sass and I'm joined by...
a somewhat sick baby Sass.
Oh, don't be so pitiful. Get some energy, get some life.
You've seen me all week. You know I ain't got no life right now.
Nah. You can feel it. You can feel it because when we get to what had you hot, all your energy is going to come back. I know it. So let's get there right quick.
Well, before we go into that, just a quick, as we were recording this episode, today is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to any of mothers listening out there, any soon-to-be mothers, and, grandmothers, all of that good stuff. So, yes, I also want to give a quick apology to any sniffles, coughs, or any sickly sounds that come out of me today.
That don't get cut out in the edit?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Happy Mother's Day. And special thoughts to those who are separated from their mothers for whatever reason. You know, if the day's hard for you, we're definitely sending prayers and love your way.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. This is episode 18. This is the week of May 5th to 9th. General Hospital edition.
Yes, it is.
General Hospital writers, what is happening? Can you pick it up? Like, really and truly, this week's series of episodes had about as much life as you seem to do, baby Sass, today. But you're unwell, so you have a reason.
The only life it had was because of what was going on with Danny and Rocco and
even
that.
Then it was not sweepalicious for me.
No. So hopefully things pick up next week, because next week would be the second week of May, I would say.
Yeah, the second proper week, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say next week was Nurses Ball week, but that is not the case.
Okay, so here's the recap. Kai wakes up from surgery.
And he starts to take his first steps. No one cares. Moving on.
We have Shenanigans on the beach this week, which I almost want to move to the end, but I'm going to keep it brief, and we will break that down a lot more as we go through this episode. But the short version is Joss swipes, corrupts, and returns Emma's hard drive. This is the hard drive that contains her submission so she can get the research assistant position with Professor Dalton. Later, Joss and Emma have a heart-to-heart that Vaughn overhears, and it causes him to question Joss's dedication to the mission. But because of the exchange of information, or basically, exchange, Emma was giving Joss all the deets. And so Joss later fills Vaughn and Brennan in on all she's learned from Emma about Dalton and his shenanigans. Danny and Rocco crash the beach party. Boys will be boys, as they say, I suppose. Danny makes a play for the college girls while Rocco is playing some kind of beer pong equivalent, and nearly kills himself as a result of alcohol poisoning. Danny goes to find Gio. They get him to the boathouse, and what I will call hilarity ensues. Feelings get hurt, secrets are inadvertently revealed, and we'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Then we have the storyline with drugged up Drew. Brad and Drew make a $1 million deal, and Brad rats out Portia and tells Drew that she's the one who gave him the ketamine. Brad later comes back and gives Drew an envelope of something that we learn eventually is a vial of what? Je ne sais pas, I do not know. Then he resigns from the hospital, and he tells Lucas he's leaving Port Charles. Drew holds a press conference telling the constituents he was drugged. Willow is by his side at this press conference. She's fully on board with everything that Drew is selling. When she's back at work later that day, she has a quick meeting with Portia. Portia's like, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" Willow's basically, "Mind your business. If you have something to tell me about my work, then talk to me. Otherwise, step on." Willow sees Curtis, and she asks him to print something favorable in Aurora about Drew. And Curtis is like, "I'm just printing the facts. We know that Drew was drugged. We don't know that he was drugged by somebody, so we're not going to print that." Willow is not happy, but what can she do? And then Drew shows up and makes more demands of Portia. Then we have the whole referendum, Pier 55, 56, 54, 50, whatever story. Sonny is back from LA. And there was a moment where I was like, is he going to have a smooth recovery? Because by all accounts, he's fine. He's doing well. There's a meeting of the minds at the Metro Court, which involves Tracy, Jordan, Sidwell, Marco, and eventually Drew when he comes in from his press conference. Marco basically tells them they are using the wrong approach. After the meeting, Sidwell and Jordan visit Sonny to make him an offer where Sidwell offers basically to buy out the piers, and he'll deal with whatever fallout because Sidwell figures once Sonny doesn't own the piers, then the Esplanade will go in the original place. But while they're talking, Sonny appears to have another episode. I'm not sure that he did, but I'm not sure that he didn't. Later when he's talking with Jason and he tells him about Sidwell's offer, Jason's like, "You're not going to do it." And Sonny's like, "I just might." We'll see where that goes. This week we also caught up with Krazy Kristina. And we're only calling her crazy because of her behavior, not because of her mental state. Just to be clear. The behavior is not that of a rational person. But, yeah. So she meets up with Lucky and fills him in on what's been happening with Alexis. I'm not sure why she thinks Lucky cares, but anyway, so Lucky listens and says, well, maybe it's not the worst idea. Maybe Lucky figured out that Alexis figured out. I'm not quite sure. But he gives Christine another perspective. Meanwhile, across town, Alexis gives Diane a bit of an update on Kristina, what's happened, how the kids found out. Lets Diane know that she wasn't totally forthcoming and didn't give her all the information. She still doesn't give her all the information because, well, she's committing a crime. So, after that, when Alexis is at home, Ava and Rick show up. They're talking. Rick lets her know that he wants more money. He set up a shell corporation for Alexis to funnel the money into. Alexis is not amused, but I don't know. I think she's going to do it anyway. I don't think she's at a breaking point yet. Kristina shows up, sees Rick and Ava at the house. Rick concocts some story about, how to making sure that Molly's okay and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what lie he told. And then Kristina says, she wants to move past her feelings towards Rick and Ava. She wants to live in peace and harmony. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. We know it's not a problem because they're getting paid. And then Molly shows up, surprised to see Kristina. Molly's still very, very angry with her mother, but Kristina says, no, I want to move past this. All we have is each other. With respect to the custody battle between Michael and Willow, so when Willow came back from Baden-Baden, I don't know why that tickles me so much. But she came back from Baden-Baden, and this is when Carly was at the house, kind of celebrating, or I don't even know what the right word is, but with Nina. So when Willow gets home, after going to the hospital with Drew, she finds Carly there. Carly's there to visit the grandkids, is what Carly says, and Willow's not even having it. Willow is beyond vexed, and she's like, no, if you want to see my kids, you go through me. I'm their mother. I have custody. Know your place. Carly's like, okay. Nina makes another attempt to talk Willow out of believing Drew. Enough said on that. But Willow was very much aware that if the judge doesn't believe that Drew was drugged, then she will lose her kids. And, but she's continuing to make choices that don't mitigate that, so...
As many people have said to her.
I mean, hard ears you can't hear. And then Sasha goes in for a checkup. Willow's the nurse on duty. And Sasha's like, no, I want another nurse. Anyways, they have words. Willow's trying to make peace. Sasha's not really here for it. And then in the course of the conversation, Sasha learns that Willow wasn't able to see Michael. Michael refused to see her. Sasha is confused. And then anyways, after the appointment, she goes to see Jason and tells Jason what Michael did, supposedly. And I think that's pretty much the overall recap for the week. So why don't we jump into our categories and flesh out some of the stories?
All right, where you want to start?
Did we find anything funny this week? Was there any comedy moment at all?
For me, it was when Alexis opened the door holding the dagger and Dan's like,
Right. Sidwell had sent her back the dagger last week, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. That was kind of funny, actually.
That and this one is a small comedy moment, but when Brooklyn and Chase go to visit Alexis and Suzanne's like, "Can I get you anything, coffee, water?" And Brooklyn's like, "Herbal tea if you have it." And Suzanne just kind of starts having a freak out. She's like, "We don't, but I can go to the store." And Brooklyn's like, No, don't worry about it. But then proceeds to run off to the store to get herbal tea and comes back and they're gone. And I'm like,
right. I did forget to mention that. Yes.
From the moments that we see Suzanne, she appears lovely, but I'm like, you are stressing over so much for no reason.
Agreed.
And she's like, I can get this tea, like, a lunch break doesn't matter. I'm like, you say this, and the look on your face is as if, like, Alexis and Diane are, like, working you to the bone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, lady, chill. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not slave drivers. No,
indeed. But yeah, I forgot to mention in the recap that Alexis had a visit from Brooklyn and Chase to get more information about proceeding with the adoption, and it was bothering me from the time I saw Suzanne, the receptionist. I'm like, I know this woman from somewhere. I thought it was The Office. It was not The Office. So for those that are wondering, Suzanne is played by Jen Ray, who had previously been on General Hospital. She played a psychic. I can't remember who she was psychicking for, but she was really quite hilarious. I do remember that. I'll have to go and look up who it was for, but anyways, that was I want to say back in 2009, but I don't think it was so far back. That I'm confusing with two different things, I'm sure. I did not have a comedy moment of the week that I can recall. It may have involved Cody, I'm not sure, but
I don't see how Cody wasn't. Oh, unless it was at the bar.
It might have been at the bar where he's like, I know a date night when I see one, but you know, or maybe. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna skip that for now. Do you have a who called for that? What did you do that for?
I'm like, I didn't really write down much this week for the categories, as I was more hot than anything.
Well, this was a week for being hot, so we will come back to that. For Make It Make Sense. Please make it make sense. I did not mention this to you because I really wanted to discuss it with you in the podcast. It's Drew and Brad and their demands of Portia. And I don't understand what is going on with that. How has Portia allowed herself to be blackmailed? Like, I'm missing a key element because Curtis knows that Portia doctored the results. So what exactly are they holding over her that they're going to tell somebody else besides Curtis? I mean, Drew keeps saying, I'm going to tell Curtis, but Curtis already knows. She told him ages ago.
I think this is one of the things that the writers just forgot.
You think? Because I understand blowing up her medical license. Sure. Fine. But Curtis? And she just panicked so hard she forgot she told her husband?
I guess.
I don't get it. I do not understand. Okay. So that was...
Oh. I also think my Make It Make Sense is, I guess, for Willow, just... because I'm with what everybody is saying. It's like... Make it make sense, woman. It's especially Sasha. Sasha said this to Willow, and Nina said it to Curtis. But it's like, how can you stay with a man who treats you like that? It's like, and even Curtis kind of said this to Willow, because when Willow was asking him, it's like, so you're gonna put the truth, right? That he was drugged and he didn't do it. And Curtis is like, he posted the results, but it's his word over what we see. It's like, he says he was drugged, but unless he can prove that he was drugged, we have, it's like, for all we know, he took it himself and he's just saying he was drugged.
Right. All we know is that he had drugs in his system. Well, that's not a shocker. We could see that for ourselves. Yeah.
Right. So the fact that Willow's saying, I saw it with my own eyes, he begged me to come with him, and then when I found out that he did have ketamine in his system, it's like, I believed him right there that he was drugged. And it's like, how was that your first inclination? How is that your first thing to believe. Because I'm like, if someone tells me, like, also the fact that you say you know Drew as well as you do, I'm like, no, you do not. But anyway, if my boyfriend, if I come home and I find my boyfriend in bed, passed out, her girl walks out, basically the whole situation that Willow just witnessed, first off, I'm like, I don't condone cheating. So even if it appears it's like, no. Like, you have to get, like, you actually, like, in Drew's case, yes, he was drugged, but I'm like, you have to prove it to me that this is the situation. You have to actually show me confidential, solid proof that you did not willingly go out of your way to, or willingly put yourself in a situation that was going to make me leave you, which currently Drew cannot do.
No, he cannot. He
cannot. So for me, it's like, Willow, how is it you walk into your house, you see your man in a bed, passed out, and a woman comes out in his shirt, and then he's like, come, I've been drugged. That is the case. And he shows you the results, and it shows he's got drugs in his system. It's like, my first inclination is not to believe him. My first inclination is like, okay, so while I'm gone on vacation taking care of things that need to be done, the first chance you get, you're out partying, doing drugs, and hooking up with women. That's still going to be my first thought. It doesn't prove that you were drugged. It just proves that you had drugs in your system. It proves that you did something, and it hasn't fully left your system. So I don't know how Willow's first inclination is like, yes, you were drugged. I believe you. I don't understand that. And then for her to say later to Isaiah, I believe him, but I also need a judge to believe that he was drugged, because if he can't exonerate himself, or if he can't prove that he was drugged, I could lose my kids. And it's like, so why are you still with him? If you know that this is the situation that could happen, why are you still with him? Why are you still in that house? Why are you still putting yourself and your kids in this position? Because as you said, or as Sasha said, Michael could see that and use that against you. It's like, this is the person you are letting be around our children. This is the person that you think is a good influence for our children. It's like, really, that's not going to help in your case. And also, you stood up next to the man and it's like, yes, I believe him. I will fight with him. It's like, no. Because back to my whole, if I was in Will's position, I'm like, I will come crying to you, boo-hoo-hoo, explain the situation, and you're going to be like, okay, done, dusted. And then if he comes like, I can prove it, I have video footage that I was out with the guys, someone put something in my drink, the next thing I know, it's like, da-da-da-da. It's like, okay. In that case, I'm like, we can have a conversation. You have shown me proof that you didn't cheat, and it was other means. I'm like, okay, I'll believe you at that point. We can have a discussion. We can talk about getting back together. Yada yada yada. But my first instinct isn't to be like, yes, I believe you. You didn't do it.
See, I'm of two minds. If this were a real life situation, and I think the reason I'm of two minds is because of the amount of time that Willow has known Drew. So I find she's way too quick to believe him. But if you have had a relationship or a friendship with somebody over time, one would hope you know them well enough to know what lines up with their character and what doesn't. Right? And so Curtis has also said, despite everything that Drew has done, he says, but this does not line up with the Drew that I know. Drew does not drink. Drew does not do drugs. I mean, and not to say they couldn't be doing it in secret.
Right.
But it does not line up with everything I know. There was never any reason to have an inkling.
Right.
So to your point, I think Willow can believe him. And, because it doesn't line up with anything that she knows. However, because her custody of her children's at stake, I don't see why she couldn't say, yes, Drew, I believe you. However, the risk is too great and I need to mitigate this risk. So we can keep talking, but I'm over here at my mama's.
Right.
I'm not doing this appearance of anything.
Right. The other thing that pops in my head is, as you said with the example involving Drew, or Curtis and Drew, it's like, and Curtis is like, I've known Drew. Drew's not known to do this or whatever. But also, it's kind of like, yes, you know Drew, but keep in mind, the Drew you know did not do all this bacchanal confusion back then.
Well, absolutely.
And we're like, something snapped in him.
Yes.
And led to this. So
agreed. But really, my point was, if there's somebody you know in life that you've known over time,
right.
Right?
And I get that point compared to this, where
one would hope you give them the benefit of the doubt because you know it does not align with their character.
Right.
So something is off. You don't know what it is. So it's like you back them, but you also, protect yourself type of thing.
That's why I'm like, just overall, cheating is a no-go. But there are certain factors or exceptions, I would say, to that rule. But it's like they'd have to be extreme, and you'd have to be like, you can't joke about it. Like,
I don't think Drew has proven himself enough to Willow for the loyalty that.
No, that's why I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How can you say you know this man, believe this man? It's like you ruined your marriage and your life for this man. And
it's just, is it because she was in the cult before?
Right.
Which Sasha kind of threw in her face. I was just like, ooh, y'all really need to not be in the same space because y'all taking some swipes.
No, but also, but yeah, also it's just it's in the line of like Willow. It's granted Drew himself wasn't in a relationship at the time, but it's like if he's cheating, I'll say the reverse in this case since Willow, but it's like, well, you cheated on your husband to be with him, so what's to say you won't cheat on him for someone else? So it's basically the reverse, because since Drew was in a relationship, I can't use that, but that's essentially what I mean. It's like you had an affair with someone. What's to say you won't have an affair on him? Kind of thing. Yeah,
I totally get your point, and maybe we throw that into the Lulu of the week because Willow, like, what?
Yeah.
Unless you have another one.
No.
Other than Kristina, but anyway.
And other than Lulu. But we'll leave that for
everything later. Lulu.
I'm excited. It wasn't really mentioned, but now that Tracy knows the truth, and at the end of Friday's episode when Tracy walked up on Lulu, was like, what are you doing?
Oh,
and Lulu's kind of like,
that's coming.
Right. I'm looking forward to that confrontation. I'm just like,
right, because I was just about to go into the what had me hot, so I'm going to start with a smaller one, and then we can go into that whole storyline. So what had me hot is this thing that y'all do in America that does not happen here in Canada. I don't get it. It don't make sense. Why would you ever? At the Brown Dog.
Yes.
Rick and Ava are there celebrating. Ava gives the bartender her new card that that's tied to the Shell corporations. Cody comes in. He wants to run a tab. He gives the bartender his card. The bartender goes off and comes back and gives him Ava's card. Why are y'all letting people walk away with your credit card? Like, hello? Fraud? What? Oh my goodness! I can't. When I go to States, I would get mugged because I'm walking with cash. I'm
honestly surprised that they don't have more fraud. And honestly, we probably just don't hear about it. But I'm like, it's like, how do you not get scammed and frauded? So like
they do though. That's what's like. Why is that still a thing?
Because I keep seeing like videos of people being like, oh, can I check your like card machine to see if someone's put like a fake on it so they can like whatever, and they're like, yeah, this is the fake thing, you need to report this to police or whatever because it's getting your information off the card. And I'm just like, that's how I feel with y'all in the States, because y'all just be like, here's my card. I'm like, people can put whatever they want, and especially if you don't look at your like your statements or whatever, it's like you don't know how much they're charging you. It's like you could have you're at, let's say you're at IHOP and you order a $20 meal and you tip your server $10. It's like, okay, so you're paying $30 for this meal and you give your card and they walk off. They could literally just be taking $100 and it's like you gave them $80.
Well, they bring the slip back for you to sign. But I'm just saying.
It's like, but then you have those people who still don't read it. And they're just like, yep.
Yeah. So that made me mad from a Canadian standpoint, because that is not a thing here. They do not leave with your credit card.
And I will say, this one guy who we sometimes watch on YouTube, because he can be a little bit annoying, like, he will be like, oh, I'm just an average American looking at the Canadian stuff. And he'll read on, like, the Canadian Reddit, And he's like, and they were reading about how, like, we have a pin machine, which is basically, it's the machine that they bring to the table so we can pay at the table, because there's like, we don't give you our cards. We don't know what's got you doing our debit and credit cards. So
no wonder they all want to move here. Anyway, okay, let's get to the real what had me hot. Do you want to break it down, or shall I break it down?
Do it, because I'm...
Okay, so as a result of Rocco drinking excessively, he gave himself alcohol poisoning, which wasn't known at first. So Gio and Danny get Rocco back to the boathouse. Gio leaves to go to the house to get... No, Danny goes to the house to get more water and something. Cody shows up because he saw lights on in the boathouse, learns what happens, and so he kind of leans over to check on Rocco, put a blanket over him, make him comfortable, and then realizes that his breathing is erratic. So they rush him over to the hospital. Cody calls Dante and Lulu. They come over, and Dante, understandably, racked with fear. The response to that fear, though, Dante basically goes on what I call an emotional abuse rant. He is just lacing into everybody. He ultimately tells Gio that if anything happens to Rocco, it's on Gio. How could he take him to the party, get him drunk, didn't bring him to the hospital, didn't call the parents, all kind of thing. Gio is irresponsible, uncaring, unthinking. You know, I'm throwing words in there, but basically, you know, Dante was just like, you're a good for nothing bum. And Gio's like, oh, blah. Now, Dante was with Lois when he got the news, so Lois is also at the hospital. Lois, and we all understand, jumps to Gio's defense. I think she would have done it anyway because Dante was completely off base. Then Dante goes and he tears into Jason, telling Jason he's a useless father. Who else did he tear into?
He turned into Lois.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he tore into Lois.
For constantly protecting Gio and never letting him
Molly
go
coddling him, and now he's like no kind of a man, irresponsible, and all this kind of thing.
And I'm just like, would an irresponsible young adult take your kid home, stay with him for the entire night to make sure he's okay? Because I'm pretty sure an irresponsible adult would have just left him on the beach.
I don't have words.
I don't either.
I don't have words. Dante to me was completely out of control.
Okay, I'll say this.
I know I need to have words because it's a podcast, but you go ahead. You say this.
So, ever since I started watching the show from whenever it was, I don't remember. It was on and off. But definitely a relatively young age. I've been meh on Dante. I'm like, I don't really like him. I don't really hate Dante. Him.
Well, I never like your father.
It's like, I don't really like him. I don't really hate him. But he's had his moments where I'm like, okay, good for you. But this week, I have never been as furious with a character as I have been with Dante. And it's not even because it's like this, it's not even because it's like he's yelling at his son and has no clue. It's not even like, I'm just like, okay, I get you're scared. I get your son could have died. I totally understand that. You're a parent. You're afraid. You're always kind of looking after your kids. I get that. But where you went in your rant and tirade on this kid was so uncalled for. I'm like, you are just so mad you're not even hearing the words that he is telling you. I'm like, Gio said, I was at the PCU party. Danny found me. I didn't even know he was there. Told me about Rocco. And I got him some help. I took him back to the boathouse. Yes, I should have called you guys, should have told you, but I didn't want them to get in trouble because I know Rocco's been excited about this trip to London. I didn't think he was in as much trouble as he was. I've had friends who have been drunk and they just need to sleep it off. Keep in mind, Gio's friends he's talking about probably, are roughly his age. I'm assuming, a little rowdy, but they still kind of know how to drink responsibly to an effect. But it's like, but as I said, it's like, if I had known he had been drinking as much as he had been drinking, I would have called you. I would have taken him to the hospital. But I didn't know because I didn't know he was there until Danny found me. I've never been in a situation like this. I did what I could with the knowledge that I had. As Lois tried to help him, even as Sonny told him when Dante told Sonny what happened. And it's like,
yeah, but by then Dante had been on his rampage.
Either way, it's like, but he's like, even with him having been on his rampage, he was still kind of hot even when he told his dad.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, and Sonny's like, look, it's like, Gio did what he thought was right. He did what he with what the information he had. Like, he's never been in a situation like that. And if he had been, he would have known better. But he didn't. Like, you can't be tough on the kid. And I feel so bad for Gio. And the thing that's making me, like, really antsy is ever since Gio's conversation with Tracy about voting against Sonny and his peers, Gio has just had this angry look on his face, and it's been getting worse as the episodes have gone by, and I'm so afraid for this boy that he's going to put himself in a situation or get himself in a situation involving Sonny. And I'm like, I'm terrified because Gio is a good kid. We can see that. He has so much talent, so much aspiration. I am so scared he's going to get wrapped up in the whole mafia thing. And it's just going to be like, ayoy.
You think he's going to take a real left turn at Albuquerque?
I really do, because I'm like, the looks on his face are scaring me. And like, and what makes it so much worse in my feelings is, one, when he went and filled Emma in on what happened, he's like, Dante basically told me what he thinks of me and he thinks I'm no good. And it's just like, oy, yoy. And I'm like, when you find out you guys are father and son, it's going to feel so much worse.
Well, exactly. And so
there's that.
I don't think Gio's going to turn to, a life
the dark
of crime.
side.
A life of crime. I think as Dante, as Lois, as Dante said, Lois and the way have always swooped in to protect him, so they're just not going to let that happen. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you that when they find out that they're father and son, Dante's going to have to work ridiculously hard to build that relationship, because I think
oh Gio, yeah, for sure, because he's destroyed that. It's like he never knew his dad, but I think Dante has always been like a father figure to him. Even like, yes, he's his real father, but it's like bio father. But it's like sometimes when you lack that father figure, mother figure, or parent, you always find that person who fills in that gap. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can look up to you, you've been that person. I think Dante was that person.
I think so.
And then to find out that he actually is his bio father,
but think so poorly of you and so little of you. Well, I'm sorry, Dante.
Right?
Good luck.
Right? And I've been saying this a lot because people are always saying these words, like Molly and Christina had their moment where it's like, we got to stick together and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then someone else said something or the other, but Dante said something to Rocco. It's like, I love you, I will always look out for you, and whatever. And I'm like, you better remember those words. Keep those words in mind, because when you find out the truth, whoa.
Right? And I think this is also the build up because we know Lulu's gonna spill the beans. It's not gonna come from Brooklyn. It almost came from Lois.
I was really scared it was going to come from Lois.
When I was talking about secrets were inadvertently revealed, Lois is yelling at Dante, talk about you don't know who he really is, and Lulu was off in a corner listening in, and we saw the penny drop for Lulu, and so now Lulu's looking into that. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately now it is going to be more destructive than it could have been because of the words that left Dante's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so where Brooklyn has been saying we our child could have been living life perfectly happy, and finding out who his parents are would just ruin his life. I mean, I don't think it's going to ruin, but it's going to have devastating consequences because of what Dante spoke into existence. Mm-hmm. So
and I also think his relationship with Brooklyn, I think, is going to be just the way I've been seeing, like, when they interact. Like, it's definitely gonna be, like, a very, like, sentimental moment for them. Because, like, I know, obviously, for Brooklyn, she's gonna be like, what? She's gonna be mad at her mom again because it's like, you've known this entire time. It's like, well, nah. So their relationship is also gonna be a little wonky again. But like I was saying, for Gio and Brooklyn, I'm like, they've had their moments where he's like, you remind me of my mom, or that's something my mom would say, and mm-hmm. I think you're going to be a good mom. Like, I think their relationship, while it might be, I wouldn't say rocky, it might be a little, I don't. It's like
tentative.
Yeah, I think their relationship's gonna be fine. I think their relationship's gonna come back, stronger. So, like, you've always been there for me. You've always looked out for me.
Mm-hmm.
You've always given me such good advice and stuff like that. So I think their relationship is gonna be fine. But yeah, like, and when you look at that in comparison, it's gonna be like to his and Dante's is like, I think Brooklyn's also gonna ream into Dante's. Like, how could you say that to him? Like, just overall, because, like, you were there, you watched him grow up, you knew the kind of guy he is. And even if Gloria and my mom were kind of swooping in, always helping him out, he still grew up to be the kind of person we would want him to be. It's like, so how could you say that just in general? Mm-hmm. But also, it's like, and even unknowingly, it's like, how could you say it to your son? It's like, no one ever wants to hear that, especially from someone who's, like, grown up around them, seen who they've become, looks up to them. It's like, that's just low.
Indeed. And so I guess that just basically ties us into Villain of the Week, which, in case you didn't guess it, fans, Dante. Absolutely.
I'm just thinking about all the people who are going to rip into him, because I'm like, your mom's going to rip into you, because Olivia's like, how dare you say this to my grandson? I didn't know, but it's like, how dare you say this to my grandson?
I don't think that's going to come up in conversation for them, but
yeah,
who knows?
But Dante might say, he's like, he's going to find out, and then he's going to like, I said the most hurtful things and whatever, and might explain, and then Olivia might be like, yeah, that's not great.
Hero of the Week or Heroine of the Week?
I don't have one.
Oh, I do.
Well, there's Gio, because he did save him.
No,
but really, it's not even, I don't have a Hero of the Week, really.
My Hero of the Week is going to be Carly. Carly went to talk to Danny after Danny's piece of foolishness. And yeah, because I don't even think she knew what happened. Because Danny called Gio to find out where they disappeared to, and then found out they're at the hospital, and then Danny started freaking out.
Because Gio mentioned Danny, Carly said, I will. And then the phone call, and she's like, can I speak to Danny? And
so Carly went off and spoke to Danny, and I really liked how she had that conversation with him. She didn't raise her voice, she just broke it down.
Yeah.
And the importance of looking out for your brother and sister. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not just, the people in your house. Just, we gotta look out for one another in the world.
What I find really interesting is how every single person who's had a conversation with Danny, aside from Dante, Lulu, so really Carly, Sasha, and Jason.
Even Lulu was kind of respectful, but
right, but they didn't have really like a sit down conversation like everyone else kind of did.
Okay.
But I like how no one yelled at Danny. I was kind of expecting Dante to, but like no one really yelled at Danny. They're just like, "Look, you did something stupid," and even when Danny's like, it's not even that they're mad. It's like they're disappointed. It's like, it's like you'd rather they be mad than disappointed, because having someone be disappointed in you is the worst feeling you could feel for someone who like you love, trust, and respect and stuff like that. So. But yeah, just everyone just giving Danny like little pieces of advice and just little like this is serious. Especially Jason, where it's like, your Uncle AJ started drinking when he was your age, and it was heavy, and I don't want that for you. I do kind of agree with Dante a little bit that Jason should be slightly harsher on Danny, ever so slightly, like give him like a punishment, not to the extent that Lulu did with Rocco cleaning the whole house, but definitely like
a house that in theory would have been clean because she just moved in, but when she was talking about the outside, I don't know why she said him to clean the gutters. And sorry, I cut you off. Please continue.
But more than just 9 p.m., we check in, text, call, doesn't matter. I need to know where you are and what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that can only go so far, sir. Like, how about, I have your location at all times, so when it does come to check in, you actually know where he is. Or, like, you have to help Sasha cook the next, I don't know, meals for the week. Something. But just, like, I do get in some cases, like, the fear in of itself is enough to teach them a lesson. But, I think the fear for this one, great, but just a little bit of a punishment. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was at a small group this week, and we're talking about parenting and discipline and boundaries and all that sort of thing. And one of the things that I personally find really interesting, and it's different with little kids, I really like teenagers. Like once you hit, even a little bit younger, once you hit 8 and up, you can have a conversation with a child. I don't find you can have that before. And so I struggle with younger people. And so the conversations that they had made sense to me. But the thing with Jason and Danny, because I do take your point, and I think I was going to say as a mother, I don't know if as a mother, but certainly I agree with you. I would have wanted something more, but I've never raised a boy. I don't know what it takes to raise a man. So it's hard to say, is like, was that an appropriate consequence? Because exactly as you said, Danny clearly understands the severity of what he did. And I think that is kind of enough to a degree. But because as you're saying, you know, the things of maybe helping Sasha cook or what have you, the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Right.
And so, you know, you have him become like a big brother to a younger kid, like big brothers, big sisters. Something that teaches him or further reinforces that kind of responsibility for another life, you know, cooking and cleaning.
Right. Because I'm like, for Rocco, his punishment, getting alcohol poisoning, getting to the hospital, or having his stomach pumped. So really, it's like, you did the thing, you got the consequence pretty quickly. So
consequences are a thing.
And as he said, he's like to Laura, it's like, I'll never look at alcohol again.
Yeah, I doubt that.
I doubt that either. But
in the moment,
right? So it's like, you're definitely gonna look at alcohol, and you're like, like you might get sick to your stomach just looking at a bottle in a store, kind of thing. But like, it's like yes, fear can be a great motivator to have you not do something again, but even still, it's like, a punishment was still needed. Like, I get where Dante's coming from, where he's like, Danny pulled a similar stunt a year ago, and Sam set boundaries. It's like,
sorry, go ahead.
And he said to Jason, like, you give him a lot of free space, and you need to do better. It's like, Danny's kind of still grieving, so I get the space, but also I'm like, I agree, you do need to rein him in a little bit. So, because sorry,
no, don't be sorry.
But it's like Carly said, it's like you are very much a mix of both your parents. You go towards the danger, you want that adrenaline, excitement, and stuff. So I'm like, Jason, as someone who kind of understands that, it's like, you like I said, you understand that, so you have a I was gonna say better understanding. It's like you said you understood it. So you can find ways for Danny to, you know, not end up in those situations. I just it's tricky.
It is. Something you said just caught my attention, right? Where you were saying that
Dante had said Sam put boundaries, and
yeah, but how effective were those? Because if they were effective, this would not have happened. So that kind of ties into my point. The punishment has to fit the crime. If it were appropriate, then Danny would not have gone off with Rocco, right? So I don't know, he got grounded or whatever. So Dante's obviously raising a boy. He has some understanding, obviously, one would expect, of what boundaries are required. Were they the right ones? And I'm not even sure that Dante had agreed with them at the time they were implemented. So we'll see what happens. We talked about Delulu of the week. Was there anything that you found particularly sassy or that you wanted to sass up in the week?
No.
Well, then I think that brings us to the end of the podcast this week. You look like you're thinking very deeply.
Sorry, because I really was trying to see if there was anything sassy, and I'm like, I don't really think there was.
No, I don't think there was particular, other than perhaps Diane, when she's sketching through the door, like, what's up with the knife? But that's okay. We don't have to have something for every category every time.
No, it's nice though.
It is. It is. So, General Hospital, pick it up. Please don't leave it till last week. You guys have had some good stuff. I don't know what's happening. So, get good. In the meantime, have a great week, y'all. Come back next week for a little more soap
and a lot of sass.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.